Here's some audience participation before we start the video. What are your main modes of commute when you do visit the malls in your communities? If you're from the US or Canada, then your answer would look like this. It sounds like I'm generalizing that people only drive to malls to go shopping. But that's pretty much the truth. Malls are great, but they can be much greater for those who do not drive. Let me tell you a story that happened to me while I visited West Edmonton Mall, an icon of Alberta in Canada for being the largest parking lot, the largest mall in North America. I decided to use public transit in Edmonton since it's very convenient from my hotel. I just need to hop on a bus that comes every 10 minutes and it terminates at the transit center of the mall. The way to the mall was easy, but as soon as I get off the bus, I changed my mind. The walk to the door of the mall was one of the most unwelcoming walks I've ever seen in my life. It was dark, with barely anyone, and there was no existence of signage telling me where to go. This is already uncomfortable and unsafe, which violates two features of walkability, but that's not the worst part of the journey that led me to make this video. So on my way back, I completely forgot which entrance I entered. It's a big mall. I then followed the signs inside the mall that indicate the directions to the transit center. Unfortunately, these signs are not updated along with the new location of the terminal, thus they fooled me. I exited the mall and this is my reaction. I then tried to relocate myself to the terminal by walking for almost 40 minutes on a series of roads that are absolutely designed for the cars. So right when I left the mall, there's a construction site, but thankfully it doesn't block the sidewalk so I can safely cross the street. But then I came to a very dark road that has absolutely no lights for the sidewalk at all, because apparently cities in Canada are so car-centric that they only design the lights for the cars. The walk was only like 5 minutes, but it felt like 50 minutes to me because I felt like I was walking on a monstrosity of design. I then crossed a 4-lane road where I finally come to a sidewalk that has decent light again, and there's even a bus lane and a bus stop nearby. Sadly, this bus stop is not in service considering the fact that there's no signs telling me that what bus gonna stop here. So from hopeful to hopeless again, I walked to the end of the road and crossing a 6-lane road just to find out that Lady Luck likes to play prank on me. The road is absolutely dark, has no sidewalk, and there's even construction, meaning that I had to walk on the lane of the construction with the hope that no cars would run me over. Thankfully, I made it back to the transit center of the mall. But that was a terrible experience. The story is pretty much the same for any mall in North America. No matter if it's a strip mall or a gigantic mega mall, you always see loads of cars parking in front of the actual buildings. And if you think that these gigantic impermeable surfaces are enough, then please rethink, because some malls even have gigantic parking garages and underground parkings. Even worse, these parking infrastructures are free. Yes, they're free. These free parking lots act like an advertisement for shoppers to shop if they're in the cars. Just drive and park and enjoy the comfort of having an automobile, but also discourage everyone who doesn't have a car to visit them. Jane Jacobs was right. Parking lots are inactive spaces that deaden everything around them. Now some might say that I'm being harsh about parking lots, but they're dangerous to walk on even if you're a pedestrian or a driver walking from your car to the shops. There are constantly cars trying to enter and exit lots, and there are people focusing on looking for a vacant lot rather than noticing other people and objects around them. Furthermore, sidewalks or paths for pedestrians are absolutely non-existent in parking lots, forcing the pedestrians to join the game of dodgeball, but instead of dodging balls, they dodge the cars. The situation is worse on colder days when the surface is icy and pedestrians are exposed to the high risk of hurting themselves besides the mentioned risk of being hurt by a car. With that being said, your shopping experience is much greater when you're in an automobile than you're on a bus or on the sidewalks. It should never have to be this way, but it's like that. Cities in the US and Canada were bulldozed and built for the cars. If you do have time, go to your local libraries and you can see the historical buildings used to stand on today's gigantic parking lots. It is the result of car-centric policies and designs in reaction to the boom of housing demand and suburbanization post-World War II. Commercial and residential areas were relocated to suburban areas, densities were reduced, and every trip turned into a car trip. And when I said commercials, I mean both strip malls, aka small malls in the middle of residential areas that are usually small and non-well-known businesses, as well as big fancy malls with kiosks and stores inside with beautiful designs and spaces for people to go shopping shop by shop. For big malls, there are transit terminals that facilitate access to the nearest door, though sometimes it still means crossing a medium-sized parking lot. But with strip malls, don't even bother to mention it. The incorporation of giant parking lots has made it fundamentally unable for someone to go shopping carless. Imagine having to walk past all the lines of car parking just to buy several items, then carrying those items past the parking lots again to the main roads, sidewalk, or a bus stop. It's already discouraging and exhausting for many people, especially the seniors or people with disabilities, which is inconsiderate to different levels of mobility. Parking lots also decrease the social capital and natural capitals of neighborhoods, when the only possible social interaction is road rage, when someone is too busy looking for a vacant lot and forget about others. Regarding natural capital, the impermeable surfaces converted from green, natural spaces reduce the quality of land, soil, and contribute to urban floods and erosions when the ability to percolate and perform evapotranspiration in the area has been significantly reduced due to the absence of vegetation. Some possible solutions that cities have been doing include making other alternatives to driving become more accessible and convenient when reaching the malls, designing compact, walkable neighborhoods, and changing the laws and rules of surrounding minimum parking requirements. But that is the video for another day. With gigantic, oversupplied parking lots that are almost never filled, it is possible to transform some portion of the lots close to the main road or bus stops to become park and ride parking lots, where citizens can park their cars and use public transit to their final destinations, since malls are also transit terminals. The city of Calgary did a very great job with this on their LRT system, but like the minimum parking requirement, it is the story of another video. With the holiday shopping season coming close, the number of cars going to malls will increase sharply. Cities and firm owners should really promote the alternatives for their shoppers besides the cars, which helps improve accessibility, social capital, and reduce the risk of pollution issues. In the very next video after this, I will talk about how some shops and neighborhoods successfully did this with their design. But for now, happy holidays and thank you so much for your support over the past years. Bye for now.